怕唔掂啊，咁我
On the 11th hour of the 11th day, every November in sun or rain, we will stand up to remember the veterans whose lives were ended in the Great War, in the Great War.
we wear poppies to honor and to pay tribute to those veterans. We do it because we want to, not because it's mandatory. And I think it's safe to say we can't assume because someone forgets to wear a poppy or isn't wearing one or takes it off, that does not mean that they aren't honoring veterans.
Well, it's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? We all feel as though there's some kind of secular obligation to wearing a poppy. I feel it, my family feels it, and I hope I've instilled in my children the desire to feel it. But in the end, military service in a democracy is to make the world safe, to make choices that perhaps you or I wouldn't always like. When I walk here to the studio in the morning, I pass through a sea of poppies in a largely multicultural city, and so I don't feel as though, and I think the numbers support me in this, that the propensity to wear poppies, adherence to the memory of those who served, or participation in remembrance ceremonies is anywhere in decline. In fact, if memory serves, there was an Ipsos poll this week that said the numbers are up about 15%, even from as recently as 2016. You and I in past years have talked about whether or not, in the aftermath of our major contribution to Afghanistan, attention to remembrance would decline. I think now, some years afterwards, the answer's in. No, it hasn't.
I think you're absolutely right. Thank you for all of that historical information, important information.
A solemn tribute to the Australian men and women who never returned. This day originally marked the official end of World War I, but as the years have passed, it's taken on a broader meaning, honouring all those who've given their lives in service.
That influence, that legacy, was evident in the manner in which Australia responded and committed to many other conflicts following World War I to the present day.
While today's service was the first for David Hurley in his role as Governor-General, it's the last for the Director of the War Memorial, Brendan Nelson. For him, the values of courage and service celebrated today live on, most recently in the actions of those battling bushfires across the eastern states.
We reach out in support of one another, even when we're gripped by fear of losing what's essential to us and perhaps fear of our own lives. And that's the spirit that we see being played out again across our country as we speak.
In Sydney, after visiting some of those areas hardest hit, Prime Minister Scott Morrison paid his respects at Martin Place. The day was marked in all corners of the country, with people of all ages taking part.
We used to go to a service, you'd only have a couple of dozen people. Now have a look around how many we've got.
I think we have to keep these things alive, especially with the younger ones coming along.
I don't think it'll ever change, to be quite honest.
I think the younger generation are becoming more and more involved with ceremonies and things like this.
I think that a lot of the things we have today are thanks to those who have given what they have given.
A sentiment many hope will mean the sacrifices made past and present won't ever be forgotten.
Guys, front!